Hey, I am John Chen, CSP, and I'm your host today. You are in Stop Losing Attention 7 Engaging Secrets You Can Use Today. Again, this is an amazing program. One of our people watched our last video, said he thought it was the best video of the year, and you're going to get a chance to see that. Now, let's go ahead and start engaging today, and let's do me a favor. Go to the chat, and I want you to chat an emoji. How do you feel in this moment? And you can chat any emoji. If you're not feeling well, that's fine. You want to feel positive, that's fine. On the bottom there, hit the little smiley face inside of there. That's right, Joe's got it. Great, let's see. So there we go. We got a few emojis. Somebody's got a mustache on. I got a thumbs up. That's good. So overall, it feels like people are happy today. I appreciate it. Someone's feeling very strong. Yep, great. Got some sunglasses. Feeling the love today. I'm feeling the love today. Look, so many people here today. Thank you so much again for joining us. Now, our second question that's going to come up here is this one, is that, what's one word to describe when you feel engaged? I'm all about engagement. And by the way, I want to give a shout out to one of our speakers, Rebecca Murray, engaged her audience when she keynoted to NACE, the National Association of Catering and Events, yesterday, and it was fantastic. So again, that's a one word to describe when you feel engaged, energized, in the zone, flow. Of course, Richard picked a ring on her finger. And actually, I saw one of our other speakers, Tim Gard, on Monday this night, and he's just talking about what props do we want. I think I'm going to find a gigantic inflatable engagement ring so I can say you are engaged. That's right. Happy, joyous, pumped up. Ooh, time blindness. Time blindness. I really like that one. Let's see. And who else do we have? Pumpity pumped. I didn't know pumpity pump was actually a word. All right, so let's do this one here too. Now that, just take me a moment. Again, we want to help you solve your challenges. Well, what's an engagement challenge that you are having that you want to solve today? So, black boxes might be one of them. My friend Lux said making folks not sleep. What other challenges are you having, whether it's virtual or hybrid or in person? Hybrid, my friends tell me, and they're like, I don't know where to look, was one of them. Adam Barker says staying focused. Good, let's see. Chuck says participant engagement. All right, ideas on keeping it interesting. We're just going through brain research. I see my friend Ariel is here. He owns a company called NeuroSteer, and we're just talking about how the brain needs something new to focus on. Nearly every 10 minutes, if you really want to keep engaged, he has brain scans to prove it. And it's something we're going to talk about today. Rebecca, of course, says hybrid can be challenging. And now let's see if my last feature works today. Oh, good, this is great. Okay, the wheel. So I'm going to give away a virtual VIP pass. This is a pass with recordings for somebody who engaged today. If you're one of my speakers, I'm going to spin again. Let's find out who it is today. Today it's going to be Andrea Ballard. You are a winner. Look at I'm going to have Andrea come up here. Andrea, what did you say that you wanted to learn today?
I don't know if I said what I wanted to learn today.
Oh, well, what do you want to learn today?
I want to learn, I just, cameras on. I think I have a lot of people eating and they want to eat and I want them to want to take care of themselves, but they turn their cameras off because they don't want to see themselves eating on camera or other people seeing eating on camera.
Yeah.
But our professional our certification literally requires for virtual to keep a camera on. So
Whoa.
I'm having this struggle. So
You should just have lunch together and just have everyone eat on camera and then talk about food, right?
well, there you go. That's actually a good idea. I've never thought of. Okay, everyone eat on camera so you don't feel self-conscious. I
Yeah,
like
you
it.
look good. Well,
Cool.
great, Andrew. I'm so glad that you're here. Are you ready for our first speaker?
Oh yeah.
All right, here we go. So today's first speaker, he's the founder of Extreme Meetings and Sticky Training. He's one of the few people I know who can create massive engagement with a banana. He's one of 125 Hall of Famers and one of 46 Cabot Award winners in the world. Please, let's give it up for the one and only Brian Walter.
Hey,
Brian.
hello, hello, hello. Well, hey, so we're going to be talking about getting your game on how to design and deliver interactive game shows. Now, in this session, which we'll be doing the long version, of course, at the actual retreat, I'll be giving you a amuse-bouche, a sneak preview, as it were. And it's going to be something that I hope everyone finds a way to adopt in their own way. A lot of times when we say, do a game show, you're thinking, well, I'm not a game show host. You don't have to be a wild and crazy game show host, but people want for there to be games because when you think about this, in a game, it's a safe way to be wrong. A safe way to be wrong. And if you are a presenter, you are in the existing mindset or belief change business. It's like you are saying, here is a new way, a different way, a better way, an alternative way, just a different way. And people are thinking, well, but this is how I do it. And we actually have to get them to go, I guess I should probably do it a different way. And so for part of that, oftentimes they have to be, wrong. And people don't like being wrong. But where people are okay with being wrong is in a game show. So what we're going to do here is we are going to share screen here. Let's see if it's actually sharing screen. Okay, we're going to do the video file here. Share the screen. Oh, it's trying to be funny on me here. Here we go. Here we go. And there we go. Is it showing? Yes, it is now. Okay, so we're going to get our game on how to design and deliver interactive game shows. Now, to start with, we have to take some advice from our good friend Arnold Schwarzenegger, of course, that he would say, okay, retreat peoples, hear me now and believe me later. Game shows are a powerful presentation format unless they're complicated, relevant, no fun, too easy, too hard, too long, or boring. So we're not going to do that. That's what we're going to show you how not to do. Now, in our speeches, in our meetings, in our trainings, we're like, yes, a game show. But here's the question. How do we ensure that a game show is actually a game? Now you're thinking like, well, wait a minute here. Because not all things that you think are a game show are actually a game show. What you need is DERF. That's right. DERF. D-R-F-F-P, DERF. And you're probably thinking, I know Richard's thinking, what is a DERF? And that is, they did something, there were rules, it was fun, it was fast, and there was a prize. If you don't have all of those elements, it's not a game, it's an exercise, it's a story, it's something else. Just because something's fun doesn't make it a game. Just because something's got rules doesn't make it a game. You need all of these components here. So, now when it comes down to prizes, you might be thinking, well, do I have to give them highly valuable prizes? And the answer is no, you don't. Now, here's the interesting thing. Prizes can be tangible prizes, which are one of these three things. Cash, cards, or swag. That's what you want. When you have a prize at an event, you give cash, cards, or swag, you will get instant involvement because people want cash cards or a swag. However, it can also be an emotional prize. Now you're thinking, what do you mean? What's an emotional prize? An emotional prize is that, you're better than your peers. You're like, oh, really, John? You just scored 1 in the last game. I scored 11. Now, I know someone like Andrea, or Richard, or Adam, they're totally into dominating their peers. So again, sometimes just the glory of beating the other person is a reward enough here. So, one more thing before we actually get to a sample game. A sample game is we have to answer a very shortened question, which is why? Why are we doing a game in our program? So think of it like, think of it as a WOG. Why a game? Why a game? Why a game? Why this game? Why this game at this particular time? Now, sometimes you use a game to warm up the audience, to see what the audience is like, how playful are they, how well engaged. You might use it to introduce a topic that you're going to be giving some deep content on. Like, for example, if I was opening for Richard at one of his events, it's like I would probably do, what's your LinkedIn IQ? And then people would guess things and they would be wrong in a lot of the questions, which is a subtle way of saying you don't know as much as you think you do about this particular topic. So that's one of the advantages of a game. So let's go ahead and play Booker Bowl, one of my favorite new games here. Now imagine that you are at a conference and you are in sales and it's like a sales real estate conference. So I might say something like, hey, there's all sorts of advice you're going to be hearing from us and from speakers. And so we need to kind of test your ability to know good advice from a bad advice. We're going to do that by playing book or bull. And here's how it's going to work. I'm going to shout out and show you the name of a book. And when cued, you must all put in chat book or bull. Meaning book, you think it's a real book, or bull, you think it's a fake book. Okay, so here we go. Number 1 here. Commission Impossible, one agent's journey from 0 to 1,000,000. Book or bull, book or bull, book or bull. You're putting in there, Okay, you got it. And keep track of how many you get right. Okay, keep track. I'm talking to you, Richard. Keep track of how many you get right. And the answer is bull. There's no book called that, but it sounded reasonable, didn't it? Didn't it sound reasonable? Okay, number 2 here. Shut up and buy. Assertive closing techniques for millennial buyers. Book or bull? Book or bull? Putting in there, you're putting in chat. Book or bull? Book or bull? And the correct answer is that's also bull. That's also bull. And some of you are disappointed. Joe there is disappointed. She thought, oh, that should be a book. Richard's like, I'm writing that book next. That's right. So, okay, we go to the next question here. The Real Book of Real Estate. Real experts, real stories, real life. Book or bull? Book or bull? What do you think? What do you think? That sounds like, of course, that's a true thing. And it's, got, the rich dad, poor dad guy thing here. Okay, number 1 question again. Sell it like a mango, a new seller's guide to closing more deals. Richard, you're shaking your face here. You're like, that can't possibly. Well, then, put your keyboards where your mouth is, your head is. Book or bull, book or bull. And of course, that's a real book, Richard. That's a real book. Sell like a mango because... Wow! Yeah, that's right. That's what I think of for selling excellence here. A couple more here. Smarketing. Sell smarter, not harder. Book or bull? Smarketing. Sell harder. Spell smarter, not harder. And the correct answer is it's a real book. That's right. It's a real book. Yes. Okay, a couple more. You're keeping track of how many you get right. Smarketing 2, Revenge of the Funnel, because sales and marketing still aren't talking. Book or bull? Book or bull? What do you think? What do you think? Oh, you're putting it in there. Actually, I made that one up, but maybe he will be doing that one next. Couple more. Home buyers talk. What are they saying about you? Book or bull? Book or bull? There you go. Actually, that's a real book, and I sucked up to a presenter, Bob Berman, who was presenting that day. So, all right. And we have here 2 more, I think. Close encounters of the home sales kind. How to land the deal without sounding like an AI robot. Come on, what do you think there? Book or bull? Book or bull, huh? Book or bull? And it's bull. I made it up. And blueprints, bull, bleep, and buyer's remorse. An honest guide to new home sales. What do you think? And I made that one up here. I made that one up. I know. So anyway, so those just are some examples of the type of games we're going to do. And except in the session, we'll actually talk about why they work and why they don't work when you're making a speech, doing a training, or having a meeting. Much more on this to come. And now back to our fearless leader, Mr. John Chen.
Thank you so much. Let's give it up for Brian Walter. John Galto said, what fun. There we go. Thanks again, Brian. And as always, right, Brian made a whole career out of game shows. So you got to go see them. And when they're fast and furious like this, they will engage your audience. Thank you so much, Brian, for being here. Now, coming up next, this is one of the thought leaders in LinkedIn. He attends the top conference that decodes the latest algorithm. He has lived in South America. He's fluent in Spanish, and he's a world record holder in board gaming. He's the author of Digital First Leadership and CEO of Bliss Point Consulting. Please, let's give it up for Richard Bliss.
John, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And what a pleasure to be here. And so today I'm going to talk about, I don't have any slides to share because I'm going to talk about how some of the techniques that I have used. And I got to tell you, I loved what Brian had to say because so much of what I do is being captured there from what he said, this idea of engaging your audiences. Now, there's some techniques that I use over time that have helped me engage audience, whether I'm on the stage or I'm on a Zoom call. Now, I have to admit, I had to change a little bit because I met Patricia Fripp when I was asked to present to the $1 Million Round Club. And I met her for the first time, and she came up to me and said, hang on, let me get this right. Richard, you're so much more interesting in person than you are online. And I was like, okay, nice to meet you. And so one of the things that was interesting on that is that she was judging and we know Patricia Fripp, and she's the perfect one at this, at judging that difference between my persona. And so it changed how I kind of presented and how I did that. I want to talk about some of the things that I do. So a couple of things to keep people's attention, and let's address some of those that came up. People aren't on camera. Okay, people are on camera. So then use that to your advantage to keep people paying attention, because you don't know if they've walked away, what they're doing. So call them out. Call people out who are on camera and saying, I don't know if you're still with us. They might have walked away, everybody, but let me ask you a question. Now, here's what that does. One, if they did walk away, they kind of get caught. I do a lot of training. So my audiences are generally teams that know each other. And that puts a little bit of social pressure. Number two, it causes the audience that didn't get called out to sit there and go, oh my gosh, he might call, I better pay attention. If an audience member comes off mute and you're paying attention to that view and you're speaking and you see them come off mute, call them out immediately. Hey, I saw that you just came off mute. Was there a question that you wanted to ask? I never wait till the end of my presentations for Q&A. If you've ever sat through one of my presentations, they're generally broken up into 3 sections, and I stop at the end of each section, and I do this. I say this, I know that my content has generated questions in your mind at this point. Let's pause and let me address some of those questions. What questions do you have? Now, that's fundamentally different than, are there any questions? Are there any questions is an effort for the audience to sit on their hands and not be the one to raise their hands. No, I'm not going to ask a question. I'm not the dumb one. I know what he's saying. It actually is a negative incentive for them to ask or participate. But when you say, I know I have generated questions in your mind, what questions can I answer right now? You have now flipped the script. You have told all of them that if they're paying attention, they have a question in their mind and they better ask it. And so now it's an incentive to ask a question. And then comes the second secret. You need them to pay attention. So then you put your hand behind your back and you slowly count off 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. And when you get to 1006, you have to be comfortable with that silence. A member of the audience will invariably ask a question every single time. It is magic. And all you have to do is be comfortable with saying, what questions have I generated for you? Go ahead and ask your question now, either in the chat or on come off mute. And then you're silent. And you need to be comfortable with that silence. Now, if it stretches just a little bit too long, you say, hey, I can be here all day. Are all of you guys on camera? It looks like everybody walked away. Is anybody here? Call out their behavior, and it causes the collective group to sit up and take notice. Now, I'm going to use Brian, what he's talking about too. When it comes to the games, because I love that, I'm not nearly as adept as he is at doing the whole game thing. And so what I'll do is I will give away points. I will give away points. I'll ask a question. Who wants to answer a question? And then somebody will ask a question. I love that, John. Bliss points. 1,000 points. And then I'll say, this is what I'll say. The host has told us that there are cash prizes at the end for whoever accumulates the most points. And then I pause for a split second. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. They told me they ran out of cash prizes, but you still get to keep the points. Now, this comes back to what Brian just identified. Remember, he talked about prizes and what you can win. It is surprisingly and a bit shocked how they keep track of the points. Even though I told them the points mean nothing, whose line it is anyway, it's a great place to steal from. But even though the points mean nothing, they will start keeping track. Even though I'm arbitrarily just handing out 1,000 points, they will keep track. And sometimes they'll actually shout out and say, hey, I'm ahead on the points. And it's not even a contest, but I deal with a lot of salespeople and they're type A personalities. Here's something else that I do. And we talk about this contest I'm participating. One of the things, though, is, and Brian pointed this out as well, they score against each other. Each of you have a score number that has been given to you on LinkedIn. Each of you have a score. I'm going to drop a link into the chat. I've just dropped it in there. If you click on that link, a number will come up. There'll be a big circle, and there'll be a number next to it. You're all on the computer. I know you're there. So now if you click on that number, what number? Tell me some of the numbers that you have. It's right next to the big circle. So share with me the number. Some of you, go ahead and put it in the chat. Let's see what we've got. Joe's got a 39. I like that. We got a 60 from Andrea. Well, she's an overachiever. Oh, there we got Mark. He's a 72. Talk about overachiever. 53, 57, 55, 53, 61. Now, I want you to notice something that's happening. I tell people, look, this number is yours, and do not compare yourself to other people. Too late. You already did. And I know that. And again, coming back to Brian, you are automatically scoring yourself against everybody else. You know, oh, Mark Hunter over there, he's a 72. I'm only a lowly 39. My point here is that you can use answers in such a way that people want to see the results of that and how it interacts. In this case, LinkedIn's giving you a number that represents how well you're doing. And then I'll do a shout out to Ann and Joe, because the both of you are sitting so nice, because with a few extra efforts, your number is going to climb so high that you're going to be the most improved. These little techniques allow you the opportunity of capturing your audience's attention simply by making them part of the story. John, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Everyone give it up for Richard Bliss. Amazing. By the way, I just stuck in the chat here too an exclusive 20-minute interview that I shot with Richard when I bumped into him at IMEX in Las Vegas. It really decodes LinkedIn, and many people have gotten 10x views by listening to things that Richard does. Richard, thank you so much for joining us here today.
John, it was a pleasure. Thank you very much, and I loved seeing you at IMEX.
All right. Excellent. Thank you. All right. Thanks again to Richard Bliss. Now, coming up next, this person has spent more than 20 years working in sales for 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 Fortune 200 companies. He says sales is his life, and helping others achieve their potential is his mission. He's known as the Sales Hunter. Please put your hands in the air for the one and only Mark Hunter.
Hey, thank you so much. And I'll tell you what, if you're not following Richard Bliss and listening to everything that he says about LinkedIn, it's unbelievable. I was just out there. I took a look at Brian Walters' profile. He's got a banana picture. Brian, I didn't know your profile is a banana now, but yeah, that's a whole nother story. Hey, you know what? We've been talking a lot about the chat. And I'll tell you what, that's powerful. I get to do a lot of corporate events, a lot of business events and so forth. And you know what's interesting? A lot of people are hesitant to use chat. Why? Because they can't see it. They can't see it. One of the things that I found that actually increases engagement is in a very safe space at the beginning. I tell people how to enlarge their chat font. And it's very easy. Many of you who are younger, you go, what is this? Well, when you get older, your eyes do different things. What you do is you simply go into your video settings, go to accessibility, go to chat display size, and you click 200%. And suddenly what's going to happen is you're going to have people who never really engaged in your sessions before are now going to suddenly be engaging, because the chat is what's going to keep people involved. Now, let's run back and talk a little bit about what John did right at the beginning, because it was so powerful. What was John doing? John was getting everybody engaged. He was asking very simple, easy questions. Put an emoji out there. Put something out there. You know, I could ask a simple question, and I love asking it, like, you know, how many people do you like having in an online session? You know, people throw in a number. I could ask a simple question. Who's going to win the World Series? Okay, that's a trick question for people in Seattle. They're going to write Mariners. Of course they are. But here's the idea. Here's what you do. You do a couple of these at the beginning, but you begin to get to your topic as to what you're talking about. Now, as you're going through your program, you come back and you begin calling out people's answers. Richard was talking about that. You know, how you make sure that people are engaged with you. Suddenly what happens is you call out that first person. Hey, you wrote down this, and you mentioned that, and you pop that in. And, and you call them out on it. You say, what are your thoughts on that now? You know, what it suddenly does is it's going to increase the attention span. For those of you who are doing corporate events, maybe you're doing programs where there's, educational credits involved and they got to keep their cameras on, they got to stay engaged, but they're not really engaged. Oh, go back to earlier where you could say, what are you eating right now for lunch? What are you eating right now? Put that in there. But you call people out. Then, when you get down to the end of your program, this is very key. You begin to put a summary on what it is that you've been talking about, okay? And I love Richard's idea. I'm all over that in terms of you invite questions as you go throughout the program. But at the end, you begin to do a recap. Great. But now you come back to that leading question that you had. We'll say the leading question that you had is, how many people do you like to have in an online event? You have people typing in. And then you come back and you say, okay, hey, I want you to think about the number that you put in there. What's the number that you would put in now? Because if you've been doing this on showing people how to have more people in their online events, but you have people kind of self-reflecting on where they were at the beginning of the event and now where they are. And what does this do? It increases the level of retention. Now, some of you are saying, Mark, I just struggle getting people engaged, struggle getting people involved. So what you do is you add 2 additional pieces to it. 1. And John asked, today, he said, put an emoji out there. What you may say is, hey, don't click enter yet. We're going to do a waterfall. We're going to do a waterfall. Type in your emoji or type in your question, type in your answer, whatever it might be, but don't hit enter. We're going to do a waterfall. Waterfall is where everybody's going to hit enter at the same time. Now, what does this do? It actually makes it a little bit safer for those who are hesitant. So I won't hesitate to do that for the first couple times. And I will do that towards midway through when I'm about ready to ask questions or so forth. And say, what's the key learning? Don't put it in yet. Don't hit enter yet. Just put it in. And then you hit the waterfall. And it's amazing when you get a waterfall going with a lot of people. It is amazing how people's attention is automatically glued to that. What are you getting? You're now getting excellent feedback as to where you need to go with the program. The idea being here, what we're talking about, is, yeah, we're the focal point of a presentation, but the audience has to be the receptors of what it is that we're talking about. And that's all going to come through in the chat. Embrace the chat. But to go back to what I talked about at the beginning, hey, you got to make sure that people can see it. Don't hesitate to walk people through. I would imagine that there are people who are watching right now and they weren't aware that you could actually increase the size of the font. Yeah. Go into it. And again, it's go into video settings, accessibility, and hit chat display size. John put the whole screenshot, there on the side. Make sure you do that and show all your people how to do it. Hey, I didn't take 8 minutes. How's that sound? John, back to you.
Oh my gosh, give it up for Mark Hunter. Mark, one of the key pieces that I say that chat is the second most engaging tool here on virtual. The first one is the camera and the mic, right? We turn it on, you talk, we engage with you. But thank you so much for highlighting chat, Mark. We appreciate you. All right, coming up next now, this person, he's got a warehouse full of the best audio and video equipment. Let's see. Oh yes, he's got an amazing family with 2 beautiful kids, and he's an internationally known DJ and audio video producer. Please let's welcome Adam Teagues. What's up, Adam?
Hello, everybody. How are you all doing today? I hope we're all doing good. Especially my good friend Rebecca over there, who gave her all last night for my NACE group in Seattle. I am here today to share a little bit about microphone use in live settings, especially for those of you that aspire to speak on a stage facing a giant audience or a small audience or a virtual audience. So today I'm going to share just a little presentation, hopefully in 8 minutes or less. I would love to get some feedback from some folks. This is the first time I've actually shared this. This is a preview for what you will see at John's engaging retreat here coming up in a couple of weeks. So I'm going to do the old screen share, and please tell me if everything's working okay. Are we good to go? Little mic mastery.
Whoops, sorry. And Adam, speaking of mic mastery, I don't know if you can actually touch up your mic. Alex says it's a tiny bit hard to hear you.
Hard to hear me.
There you go. Now that's got it. We got it.
Whoa. Well, we don't want to do it too much. We got to get that gain up there so that you can all hear me. Now, maybe that could be in my Zoom settings. I don't know, but hopefully you can hear me.
Genius.
And
Thank you so much, Adam.
we're gonna dive into this. I want to make sure everybody gets heard at an event. I've had a passion now for more than 20 years. Like you all have a passion to speak. John has roped me in to a passion for sharing knowledge. And let's just say I feel like sometimes as I've witnessed people speak to an audience, they don't necessarily do some of these things. And I feel like after today, hopefully all of you will learn at least one thing about using a microphone that can help elevate your game and using proper microphone technique to achieve your goals and how you want to present to your audiences. So with that said, who the heck am I to tell you how to use a microphone? Well, John gave me a little bit of an intro. Hopefully this page gives you a little bit more of who I am and what clients have said about what I've done with them. I consider myself solution-based, meaning if you're throwing an event, we want to take all of the audio, video, lighting, and even decor cues to put it all together and make it happen for you. My mic techniques that I'm going to share matter because we want everyone to hear what you say with clarity. Poor mic technique can sound distorted or muffled and lose your audience's attention, and we don't want that. We also want to represent professionalism in how we present ourselves, and good mic handling shows you're prepared and confident. Of course, today I've got this thing called a mic stand holding my corded mic, but I'm going to be talking about wireless mics because wireless handheld mics specifically are, let's just say, the easiest for a sound tech to use in any given room for that matter. It gets a little difficult with lavaliers and even those ear set mics. But for magicians, jugglers, people that need to use their hands, go for it. If you need a place to put your hands, feel free to grab a handheld mic and use that other hand for your directions. And proper control of the mic will prevent feedback, distortion, or mics cutting out. And we want to avoid that at our events so that our message can get through. So tip one, keep the mic close. You guys notice when I started getting a little bit further away from the microphone, you can't hear me because of the proximity effect. And so always 1 to 2 inches from your mouth. It's a sweet spot for most vocal microphones, and even the angle that you talk at can impact how your voice comes through. Let's just say there's this exercise I'd like to do. We can all do it right now. Put your hand in front of your mouth and just do the P sound. And you can feel that. It's called a plosive. And this microphone does a pretty good job of rejecting it, but knowing where your plosives hit so that you can adjust the angle from your voice to the microphone can really make an impact, especially if you find yourself at a venue presenting to a group of people on someone else's cheap microphone because somebody hired someone that or volunteered that microphone. And let's just say we've all been in situations where microphones don't cooperate with us. With that said, the old ice cream cone tip. If you pretend like it's an ice cream cone, that's about the right distance. Just don't get it in your beard. And with that said, positioning. This picture says it all. Never stand in front of speakers. Standing directly in front of the speakers creates that feedback loop. I'm sure we've all heard that ear-piercing squeal that us audio engineers try to wring out with tools like dynamics, compression, EQ, etc. before the event starts. But we can only do so much to combat that, and this is why we like to have you stand behind that sound field. The safe zone, as we call it, typically behind the speakers, facing the audience, and of course not pointing the microphone at the speakers while you're out dangling it or doing whatever you do with that microphone. With that said, when you get up there on the stage and you approach the microphone, I'm not going to do it because it's a no-no. Do not tap on the microphone. Just say check 1 or check 2, testing 1, 2, 3. Don't ask the sound guy if it's on because he just gave it to you and it was on, unless you hit the switch on it, and that's another tip later on. With that said, projecting with purpose, speaking loudly, clearly, enunciating, maintaining consistent volume if you can. And this is why we like to do mic tests or checks before the event starts. If that a rehearsal the day before, night before, the morning of, always helpful to do that. And if don't do this, because this is what it's going to do when you cup the microphone. Leave the windscreen alone, people. Covering the windscreen is not a good thing for a couple of different reasons, as you could tell by the sound quality that just came through by giving you that example. Altered frequency response, increasing the feedback risk in a live setting, just holding the mic right. And that brings me to hands off those controls, guys. There's no need to push the button or unmute or mute unless you know how that microphone works. I find people on panels especially, they always turn the mic off or they play with that little switch when they're not talking. And then they go to talk, it's not on, and it takes a second for it to turn on again. So finding your grip and sticking with it, avoid the buttons, don't touch the switches, you're going to do just fine. With that said, I have a bonus tip today, guys, with those wireless mics. Hold the mic in the middle of the body, above the antenna area. Not a lot of people know the bottom of that wireless mic is the antenna. And if you block it with your hands, like in the picture on the right, you're probably going to block that signal, or at least increase the risk of it cutting out from being in connection with the radio frequency it needs to. With that said, unless you own it, please don't drop the microphone. These things are expensive, and this is just a little summary here of what those tips might have been. Hopefully you guys came away with something today. And I would normally say any questions. We want to talk about this more, but I'm sure we're short on time.
All right,
Right,
let's
John?
give it up. Let's give it up for Adam Teagues. Thank you, Adam. Yeah, these mic tips are key. You know, one of the actually easy things is come up to the mic is even make a small noise, something small, like actually if it's on and you try not to disturb the room. But those are simple things. When you tap the mic, you can actually actually do damage to the mic when you do tapping because of the way that it's created. So thank you. And again, make friends with your AV people. That's all I'm telling you. If you want to have a great keynote, make sure and do that. Adam, thank you so much. And if you have questions, you can always hit Adam in the chat. Excellent. All right, we're going to move on to, we have our next speaker here today. Our next speaker today is, hold on, I got to click a button here. All right, great. Our next speaker here, for 30 years, this person has worked as a professional photographer. He's trained to see what others miss. Hidden angles, overlooked details, and unexpected stories. Today, he transforms that mastery of vision into unforgettable keynotes experience, challenging leaders, teams, and individuals. How do you seek out new perspectives and embrace a mindset of curiosity and wonder? Too often, he says, our worldview is based on limited perspective and incomplete information. So when we open ourselves up to become perspective seekers, everything changes. How we connect, how we create, and how we engage. Through striking visuals and powerful story, let's please welcome our next speaker, Adam Bucker.
Hey everybody, can you hear me pretty well, John, now?
There we go, much better, Adam. Thank you for that.
I'm really excited to be here. So I'm going to be talking about how we tend to get locked into certain perspectives, and they cloud the way we see, they cloud the way we interact, and they hamper how we engage. And just give me a second to share my screen here.
It's starting. There we go. We got your desktop.
I gotcha.
And now we're all in.
Wait a second, that's not, do you have that full on your screen, or are you seeing the slideshow sort of
We're
on the
seeing
side?
slideshow.
I'm almost there, give me a second. Cool. So we
Yes.
want it. We want to be all in, and I think we feel like we're all in, but the problem is that we have so much information that we take in that we have to kind of sort it, and our vision gets clouded, and our vision gets clouded by, there's just massive amounts of information coming in. You think we're juggling all of these different things at the same time. We carry these big weights on our shoulders, and it hampers our ability to really see things clearly. And what I'll be talking about is I want people to become more curious, to start to ask themselves, I wonder what else is out there. I wonder what else I can see if I look through the keyhole. I wonder what happens if I look from, down on the ground. We need to find other perspectives to just give us complete information so we're able to really engage better. Think about what we focus on. Are we focusing on the foreground or are we focusing on the background? All of that matters in our ability to engage and connect and really relate to one another. So I'm going to show you some slides that I just photographed. I was in the mountains backpacking a month ago, and this is where I was camped, this beautiful lake at 10,000 feet. And, it's pretty during the day. It was all right. But I know that it changes. And for me as a photographer, I'm like, I wonder what it's going to look like at sunrise. I wonder what it'll look at sunset. And the fifth morning when I got up, there was this gorgeous sunrise. And I'm zoomed in and I'm looking at it. And another thing I want to talk about is, like, a lot of times we zoom in and we forget to kind of pull back and see the big picture. And that all affects our ability to understand and to engage, as does time. Because if you wait a little longer, you see the sunrise.
Ooh.
And then another thing that is such a lesson that I learned many years ago, we're forward looking, and a lot of times we forget to turn around and see what's behind us. And when we forget to do these things, we don't see what we're missing. And that's the challenge I'm going to be putting on you throughout my talk. Is I want you always to be walking through life thinking, I wonder what else. Embrace that wonder and see how much that opens up for you. At night, same trip, stars are beautiful. But I know, you can kind of see the Milky Way in here a little bit. And what our eyes can see is this. But when the camera looks at it and the lens stays open for 30 seconds, what else is revealed? And again, there's so many times where we don't realize we're kind of a little bit in the dark, and that just importance to turn the light on, to see what else is out there. Taking it kind of back home for us speakers, if you think about being in an auditorium, we have this perspective, we're sitting up front, beautiful photo of Doris. But again, what else is there to see if I move around, if I explore different perspectives? What does it look like when I'm sitting out in the audience? What does it look like when I take that higher big picture view? And then what happens when I look, from the side of the stage and we see much more of what's going on, not only with Doris, but with the audience members from the right, from the left. And then sometimes, when we're on stage. Now, I don't know if any of you know Walter Waldman, but when I saw him speak, he just blew me away. And as a speaker, of course, it's our stage. And we engage with the audience that way. Walter did something I've seen very few speakers do, is he came out into the audience and, just gave them that, that deeper connection, showing them, that he really cared about them and to listen to them. And again, it's just kind of that beautiful thing that happens when we step off of our stages, when we step away from our perspectives, how much deeper we can connect with each other. So when you go forward, I want you to climb that mountain to look for different perspectives. Find those views to see what else is out there. And just really feel that freedom that comes when we break away from those locked perspectives. And when you do that, you're going to be all in every time. So I'm so looking forward to seeing you all and talking with you. Those of you that are thinking about signing up, in person is just incredible. The extra perspective you get of all of us there in the room for 3 days and networking with each other. And I got to tell you, these slides look way better on the big screen. Thank you, everybody. That's it. Looking forward to being there.
Give it up for Adam Bucker. So again, Adam too is our sponsored photographer, and Rebecca, who's coming up next, will share with you. Rebecca really felt like Adam's photo was the one photo last year taken of her that really captured her. And so really watch Adam work and get that perspective. You'll see him too. He works hard. You'll see he's the first guy who's up on a ladder, on a floor, and somewhere else, right, trying to get the shot. And I really appreciate that. So again, thank you, Adam, for being here today.
My pleasure.
All right. Okay, and we have one more speaker here today. That speaker is an astounding MC for the District 2 Toastmasters. He led the last story competition here for National Speakers Association's Northwest. She has an amazing ability to use her voice in speaking. Oh my gosh. And she just posted her video of doing a Marilyn Monroe impersonation when she had breast cancer surgery. So that's also an important issue for her. She's the National Speakers Association's Northwest Member of the Year. Please, let's welcome Rebecca Murray. Hi, Rebecca.
Hey, John. And that photo that Adam took of me was worth the price of admission alone. I have told so many people that it is my favorite photo, and I hope I don't wear it out anytime soon. I was here a few weeks ago when John had Engaging Retreat Appetizer 1.0. Today is 2.0, and at that session I shared my recent experience with KYA. KYA is an acronym known to many speakers. What does it stand for? Know your audience. Now, before you present to any audience, whether it's in person or online, you probably have a lot of questions that you ask of the event planner or the person that's hiring you. And there was one question not on my list. I'll go into that briefly, and then we're going to jump to another fun topic. I learned this lesson in the most painful way when a client hired me to do an online session. This is a brand new client. Record registrations filled the room. Most of the people, cameras off, mics off, they're interacting in the chat. At 45 minutes in, I announced that we're opening the breakout rooms. And at that point in time, all the people disappear from the main room as expected. 8 people out of 60 showed up in the breakout rooms. Everyone else left. How embarrassing. I called the client right after. She said, you know, I forgot to tell you, we don't do breakout rooms. And I said, you know what, that's on me, because I didn't make it crystal clear that I was going to have breakout rooms. So that went on my list, asking, how does your audience prefer to engage? Add that one to your KYA list. Now, the thing that I want to jump to today is making your MC look great. You know, at a lot of these events, the person who's going to introduce us is not very used to being in front of people. It may be the very first time they're in front of an audience, and they're a little nervous. Now, when I craft an introduction for myself, I have 2 rules. It is short, and it is short. Actually, 3 rules: short and a little bit of humor. The first laugh the audience makes, I want to go to that person who is introducing me. And because many people are not that comfortable, I will do a little bit of coaching with them, and the introduction that I send them in advance and bring a hard copy of one-on-one before they walk on stage. And I tell them, here's where I need you to pause. You're going to get a laugh right here, so just let it roll so you can experience this. Today, let's do, I'd like one volunteer, and actually I've already chosen our first volunteer, Barbara Jenks, if you're still in the audience. Barbara is, she calls herself a communication fixer. She's actually going to be attending the Engaging Retreat with all of us, and she has a voice that I call smooth jazz. So Barbara, I'm going to show you one of my introductions. Now, what do you notice, first of all? I'm going to switch over here. What do you notice about the similarities between this introduction, and this introduction? Anything pop into your head about what is similar in terms of, let's say, the number of words, perhaps?
They're all short, easy to get through very quickly.
Yes, yes. And in the front is packed with some directions. So they're all about 89 to 90 words with pause and laughter, approximately 45 seconds. Because the last thing we want is our audience falling to sleep before we even walk on the stage. Am I right? Am I right?
Yes,
Okay, here we go.
100%.
I'm going to show you this first. This is a session that I did last night at NACE, Master the Art of Elegant Interruption. Now you notice there where what I have in parentheses, a pause, pause and nod your head, pause for laughter. Can you read this clearly?
Yes.
All right, so I'll let you read it for a moment, and then I would love to hear you as if you are introducing me with your smooth jazz voice, please. Anytime you're ready.
Okay. Have you ever been in a meeting where somebody just keeps talking and talking, and you want to interrupt, but instead you sit there with that plastic look on your face, helplessly nodding away, sleeping with your eyes wide open? Today's speaker says you don't have to suffer in silence. You need to just interrupt elegantly. She's a communication strategist, entertainer, and unapologetic champion of voice equity, teaching us all how to interrupt with intention and showcase your vocal shine. Please welcome Rebecca P. Murray.
Audience goes crazy. That was so well done. And so this is my tip on crafting an introduction. Craft a short introduction. You don't need to add in all of your accolades. People have access to the internet. They know who you are. They have been receiving emails about you in advance of the meeting. It's all about the audience from the very, very beginning, and more so it's about the person who's introducing you. Make sure that they shine on stage before you step a foot onto the stage. So thank you very much, Barbara. Let's all give Barbara a great big hand. And for all of you, if you struggle crafting short, interesting, engaging introductions, I've just popped into the chat 3 of mine. They all follow the same format: something interesting and funny, a little bit about the session, and then a little tiny bit about Rebecca. Please welcome Rebecca. That's it. That's the secret sauce right there. And when you come to the Engaging Conference, we'll not only give you a little bit of sauce, but we're going to give you the whole pot of sauce. In fact, we're going to have pots of sauce for all 3 days. I'm going to show you how I take a keynote, how I start thinking about it, and then how I transition different sections from Rebecca talking to audience talking. This is about vocal equity and thinking of our presentations as more of conversations, where we get more voices into the room. Because when people have an opportunity to contribute, they're more likely to remember, have fun, and tell everyone about you so that you're the one invited back. And you know that client who I had that terrible experience with 75% of the people leaving? I was just in an email with her today, and we've just scheduled another session. So thankfully, they have invited me back, and she reminded me, no breakouts. Back to you, John.
Everyone, let's give it up for Rebecca Murray. Rebecca, too, I believe your chat may have gone somewhere, so if you could rechat your beautiful resources for everyone. And I just want to share, right? Rebecca really did something key here. Just reach out into the audience, even here in virtual. You can ask people to come on stage here with you. And for even in my talks, I actually allocate sometimes as much as half of my talk time to engage with the audience, because that's one of the key ways that you can find out what is their concern, right? What's their experience and what can they learn, right? So Rebecca, thank you so much, and we look forward to your resources in the chat. You know, I want to do one more thing here before we finish up here for today. How do all these speakers get so great? Well, one of the ways that they get so great is through feedback. And so I hope to invite each of you here. Here, I'm actually going to put a link here also in the chat. And you can also take your phone out and scan the QR code. There we go. And give any of these speakers or all of them a little bit of feedback. We're really looking for two things, right? Because, you know, we're all on this mission to create the most engaging meetings and, most importantly, get rid of boring meetings in the world. And right, and one of the ways to do that is pick amazing speakers who use some of the best techniques for this. So get ahead and take a moment to do that. Share one of the best things that you learned today, and then the other part for those who like the challenge. I know we have some experienced speakers here on with us today. If you can give us one idea on how to make this program even better, especially for you, and we actually use the idea, then I actually give you credit. So one of them I actually mentioned here today is Kathy Armias. Kathy Armias is a top TED coach in Portland, Oregon, and she was the one who gave me, don't you ever end a program on Q&A, because you have no idea how it's going to end. And it's like the energy is a huge drop. You can put Q&A, like Richard said, all through the program. But if you make sure that you follow one of my edicts in my engage method, the last E stands for end on a high note. End on a high note. So what we're going to do is right after this, I have one last thing to add for you after you finish this. So as soon as you're finished with this very quick survey, just do me a favor and hit in the chat and say done when you're done. And when I see enough people are done, I will give you the last part for today. Let's see what music I have set up for you today. Nothing drags down the energy worth than a naysayer in the Q&A. That is correct. Adam is done. Adam Bacher is done. Adam Teagues is done. Great. Great. Here's the other tip here. Have royalty-free music in the background, especially when we are live streaming. Barbara is done. Andrea is done. Soleil is done. Thank you all. Thank you all again for taking a little moment out of your day here. About 10 more seconds. Alex is done. Thanks, Alex. Thanks for all the chats, too. 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, and so now here we're going to do this high point. Speaking of high point, let's find a way to end today on a high point. And if you're okay with it, I have now turned into gallery mode too. If you are okay with a photo, leave your camera on. If you are here and you would like your photo, we're going to do a group photo. I'm going to put it in the chat. Right? Let's see some poses. That's right. So I get some great poses from Alex. Here we go. I'm going to do 3. Ready? 3, 1, 2, 3. Oh, I got one here. Hold on. Let's see it. I'm going to get a second. Oh, Nancy, thank you. I see Nancy in her car. That is fantastic. There's one, and I'm going to take one more. This is the fun one. Everyone give me a fun one. Ready? 3. Oh, where did my part go? My app. Hold on a second. I've got something else here. 3, 2, 1. I got it. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining us here today. Norm, I know you got to run. For anyone who can stay here, too, what happens is when you finish that survey today, well, one of the cool parts is, again, we do have this engaging retreat that's what we've been talking about. You get a free ticket to it, right? So when you finish that survey that's inside of there, you get a free ticket. Here, I'll chat the link one more time if you didn't do it. And so you can actually watch any of the programs live virtually from anywhere in the world. We have a couple things too. If you are going to miss part of it, you might want this because we have the ability here too. Like videos like this, we use 4 cameras in our environment. They are extraordinary and they're all AI powered with Zoom. So you can actually search through the material and find anything like what was that one technique, or Rebecca last year took finger polls. Like how do we execute finger polls in our event to engage our audience? That was from Brian Walter. That's only $97. And are there a few speakers in the house who need video? If you need video, click the raise hand button or hit video in the chat. If you need video, I only have 25 tickets left. What happens is if you attend in person, you can get a 4-camera professionally edited video. Thank you, Barbara, who's going to be there. In addition to that, you're going to get access to 15 top speakers. And if you're in person, you really get to sit down with them. We're going to have a ratio of something like 3 attendees to every speaker. So you can actually meet these people in person, ask them more. For a lot of people who want to become paid professional speakers, these people are all doing it. And so you can learn more from them. Again, we talked about Adam's beautiful photography. They will shoot photos of you as you get with us. I was just in NSA, Oregon, and somebody said, her PR person said, we need a video of you. And then I showed up and I said, you can get a video if you come to this. So she is coming up from Oregon to get this 5-minute video as well as everything along with it. And most of all, you really get to be part of this community. I will keep this group together. There will be about 65 in-person people that we will keep together for a year. You get a toolkit about how to make this even better. And the last piece is, we have an award-winning restaurant called Mojitos, where we have Latin American food. He is an award-winning chef here in Seattle, and he's going to share a story about how he became, from a dishwasher, he is now the owner of his own restaurant. He's going to share that story with you. It is touching, and they're filming a documentary about it. All of this would cost $5,500 if you were going to do that. This is only $997, and let me just remind you, you only have 25 tickets left for anybody who wants to go in person. So I want to again say thank you for all of you being here. I hope you enjoyed these previews. I really appreciate all of you being here. The last thing I'm going to do is just give applause for all of you who are still here with me today. Thank you again for attending. I know if you got to run, you can feel free to log off at this time. If you have any questions for any of our speakers who are still here or myself, feel free to chime in. I'm going to start with Barbara. Barbara, what was that like to be up with the amazing Rebecca?
It's always fantastic to be anywhere with the amazing Rebecca. So it's great.
I was with Rebecca last night, where she really worked with an audience of about 50, 60 people with NACE last night.
I learn so much whenever I see her speak.
Yeah, and she had the important part, which is how do you interrupt? It's a hard part, and she's really said sometimes very, very difficult for females or women to how do we interrupt, but elegantly, and she really showed that last night. That's so great. Anybody else, comments or questions? Thanks again for coming in here. Hi, Judith. Good to see you.
I'm just going to do a shameless plug for you.